I'm getting better at. I even remembered to unmute the microphones this time. I'm getting good at this.
You are.
And you're just surfing on your phone. I'm trying to do a thing.
I'm opening IMDb for.
There's a thing going on.
I'm actually getting stuff prepped for tonight. So talk to the hand.
Talk to the what?
High five.
God, that's like almost as old as we are.
Listen, Linda.
Linda, honey, listen. So it's 8 o'clock. It's Monday, and it's Monday at 8 o'clock. Then it's Mighty Monkeys Nerd World Weekly, and we are your hosts. That is Chris, and I am. Wait, no, that is Juno. And no.
You know who we are.
Hopefully, by now you've figured that out. That's Tanya. I'm Chris. You're you, and we.
We have comments.
We have comments already. It's Peter, it's Andrew Sr. It's all good to see you guys. Hope all is well. How you been? I haven't seen you in a couple weeks.
I know. Well, you had mom duty.
I had mom duty.
It's not really duty. It's
we don't have to go into too much detail on that one.
But you had your mom that you were taking.
Yeah, take your moms. I still am.
Yeah,
I'm still on leave from work, so I can play caregiver for a little bit longer. Thank God I'm going on vacation in June. Holy moly, that's not a day too soon, I must say. No, moment too soon.
Yeah, well, as I told you earlier, I'm trying to talk my dad into the Tampa Bay 49ers.
Oh, yeah, you were mentioning that at dinner earlier. Yeah.
Trying.
That should be fun. And all is well in Whoville. Let us start the day with confirming that which we have already talked about today on our social media. We have a guest announcement, and that is a thing that's going to happen right now. Boom, there she is. I'm going to just go ahead and go picture. There we go. See now. Go back in. Kaylee McKee. Let's talk about Kaylee McKee. I had her picture up. I had her stuff up, and then I shut it off because I'm an idiot and I don't care. Here we go.
It was on our Facebook page.
Yeah, there we go. Come on. There it is. And now we click on that. Kaylee is a voice actress, writer, world builder, and artist from a cornfield somewhere in the backwoods of Illinois. She is best known for playing the fan favorite characters like Yuta Yokotsu. I'm so good at these names. And Jujutsu Kaisen. Pina in the hit anime Beast Stars on Netflix, Testament and Guilty Gear Strive. Scarab the Adventure Time, Fiona and Cake. And as non-binary mage, Varden Dawngraspin, the massive Hearthstone digital card game set in the world of Warcraft. She is one of the few transgender women in professional voiceover and a major advocate of social progress, blazing a new path in the realm of acting for anime, cartoons, and games. Her most striking attribute is her ability to portray a vast range of characters, masculine, feminine, and further, as well as just being an overall goofball.
So part of our tribe.
Absolutely part of our tribe. I am so looking forward to meeting her. That's like the top end of cool stuff going on right there. So yes, there it is. Joining Kaylee will be joining our already announced Guy Gilchrist, cartoonist, illustrator, writer, and musician. Cartoonist for, as you can see, the Muppets, and for Nancy, and for the Pink Panther, among several others.
Muppet Babies.
Yes, I see the Muppet Babies on the screen.
I didn't even touch your screen.
So look at that. We actually had guest announcements.
Yay!
Tanya, do we have any other guest announcements at this time? No. I want to stress that. Ask me.
Do we have any guest announcements this time?
No.
Okay.
No, we don't.
Do we have some possibly coming in the future?
We're not talking about it at the moment because, again, it all filters back to no.
Yeah.
We have nothing. And as usual, if we have something official, we share it immediately. Otherwise, you'll hear about that when the time comes. So what's our thing today? I think we had a quick moment of seeing that.
Thunderbolts.
Talking Thunderbolts. We're going to be talking
New Avengers.
These guys, Thunderbolts. And so I have thoughts. I had liked the movie in the overall. I thought it was a really interesting character piece. As usual, folks, we are now bordering in spoilers territory. If you have not seen the movie and you want to see the movie,
Stop here.
stop here, because we're not going to, we don't want to be the ones to ruin this for you, but there are things we are going to talk about. Okay? With that said, you and I have differing opinions on this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I enjoyed it because, of course, I just checked my brain at the door.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I was thinking, oh, Marvel movie, blah, 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 action, adventure, fighting.
Mhm.
There wasn't, there was some.
There were some fights going on. There were some brawls going on.
I think a lot of it was, as you said, that character piece. It was like fighting with your inner demon,
Right.
demons,
And
which is
I can hear spoilers and not ruin the movie. Okay, that's great. You have actually seen what you're talking about this time. I'd hope so, Melissa, since you were sitting next to me in the theater when we went to go see it. Just saying. And it was Melissa who made the observation to me, and I was kind of crystallizing my thoughts at this time. The Sentry character is such an excellent representation of depression, because he even talks about having the high highs and the low lows, and how Sentry is this golden god who becomes the void. So one of the heroes is actually one of the villains at the same time, because he's been given this phenomenal power. It magnifies his personality. Right. Which is something they touch on in the early Captain America days. Erskine was talking, Dr. Erskine was talking about how the fact that the serum enhances the personality, so good becomes better, and that was where those who got their hands on the serum got it wrong, with like Red Skull and John Walker and all those guys who got the serum afterwards. It made their dark sides a little darker. Like Bucky. So you give poor Bob, who's been through some shit, and you give him phenomenal cosmic power and an individual in space, right? With
someone that's battling that he was alone.
Yeah.
And was attempting suicide numerous times because he just thought the world would be better without.
Right. And so, but then when he was feeling invincible, when he was feeling empowered, when he was feeling great, I mean, he was this mighty thing who was wiping the floor with these folks, the Thunderbolts and anybody in their way. But then when he sank, he sank right into the void. And let me tell you, that void character was brutally scary.
Yeah.
Because here's this shadow. All you can see is this walking shadow with his hairline and everything. And then the two little glistening
eyes.
Where his eyes were. And then people just getting shoved into, created into shadow. And it was just brutal. But yeah, you were right. They didn't have a big finale battle to save the day. It was the battle within, where they had to make that connection, and that's the thing about depression is really, no one can tackle it alone. I've experienced that myself. You cannot tackle depression alone.
Right.
You find the professional folks, or you have people who are close to you, who can relate to you, can understand you. And the Thunderbolts themselves were all, in their own ways, all broken people.
All battling depression.
All battling this back and forth in themselves. And they were able to kind of figure that all out along the way and solve that and help Bob and pull him out together.
Yeah.
Along the way, you've got Julia Louis-Dreyfus's Contessa Valentina in the background, and machinations. Yeah. She was kind of like, she wasn't like a B plot, but she was kind of, in my opinion, the kind of a catalyst. I mean, she gets things going at the beginning. She puts them all together. They're all her loose ends. She tries to figure out a way to get them all to kill each other off, and that's how they all meet in the first place. Poor Taskmaster. Olga Kurylenko's character from the Black Widow movie. That was the one with the white mask and the shield.
The one that was the daughter.
Yeah, the daughter. Kurla's daughter.
And like all of a sudden, wait! I'm like,
she was in the movie. No, she's not.
Yeah.
Never mind. She's
not. It's kind of like was it Air Force One and who was it? Steven Seagal and the movie for like the first 3 minutes and then he dies.
Kurt Russell. Yeah, that wasn't Air Force One with Harrison Ford, was it?
Yes.
No, Kurt Russell wasn't in that one. It was a similar situation.
I don't think it wasn't. But it was like Steven Seagal or Sylvester Stallone. They build it up that they're going to be da.
Like the first Scream movie, they built it as the Drew Barrymore movie, and she was out of it in the first 2 minutes.
I don't know. I haven't seen Scream.
Well, that's a long time ago, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So, So thinking of it differently, does it change your opinion of the movie, or is there something else that really kind of like wasn't sitting with you?
No, it's like when we were talking about the depression, there's a quote from Yelena, Daddy, I'm so alone. I don't have anything anymore. Mm-hmm. All I do is sit and look at my phone and think of all the terrible things that I've done. And then I go to work and then I drink, come home to no one. And I sit and think about all the terrible things I've done again and again. And I go crazy. And Alexi's like, Yelena, stop. We all have things that we regret. She's like, no, but I have so many, which reminds me of Natasha.
Right.
That there's so much red in her ledger.
Right. Red in the ledger comment. Yeah.
So then she's like, then it starts talking about her first test in the red room and things like that. But yeah, so she finally acknowledged that she's missing something.
Yes. Yeah. And then Valentina comes in and tries to capitalize on that. Well, be the hero. Here, do this thing for me and be the hero and take your place.
Not realizing that she's
setting her up
to take each other out.
And the entire time you've got like all these people who are trying to get Valentina. Valentina's trying to like manipulate everything. Mm-hmm. And then she's manipulating these people into coming together.
Right.
Well, she's not manipulating and come together. She's manipulating and trying to get rid of each other to solve her problems. Mm-hmm. But inadvertently, she's bringing this team together.
Yeah, because they were going to try to impeach her. And so she had to get rid of all the evidence, all the evidence, including all of them.
Right.
Type thing. So, yeah.
Excuse me.
No, I mean, I think now, going back and thinking about that now, yes, it's definitely, I look at it with a different mindset.
Right. And I think that's when Marvel is at its best. And that's the story of the comic books all along, is a commentary about what's going on in society. Yes, comic books more often than not are going to be, hunting down the bad guys, punch them, shoot them. Here's the action sequences. Here's all the cool character moments. And here's, the good guy coming out on top, or sometimes the good guy doesn't come out on top. But Marvel has always been exceedingly good at finding a way for you to relate to the character, finding a way for you to see yourself in the story. The X-Men is all about diversity and inclusion, which is apparently the big enemy these days if you look in the wrong corners of the world. Jeff Knapp is on board. Hi, Jeff. Good to see you, man. The Fantastic Four is about unity in their own way and integrity and doing what's right. The Avengers, finding disparate people and bringing them together for a common purpose. Spider-Man. Stan Lee loved creating Spider-Man because here is this kid who is just trying to do the right thing, but he's, there's always things going wrong. He's not well off. He's not Batman, right? He's not well off. He doesn't have all these resources. He doesn't have all this notoriety. He's not famous. He's doing everything he can to be a good person with all of his power. In the face of, trying to make it day to day, paycheck to paycheck, in the face of media that was out to get him all the time, trying to make him look bad, trying to try him in the court of public opinion and everything. So there's all of these ways for Marvel characters to relate to you as a person, for the person to find themselves in a Marvel character. Elizabeth Rice is on board too. Hi, Elizabeth Rice. Nico's here. Thunderbolts was awesome. Really hit everyone in the feels with this movie. Lewis Pullman did a great job, but couldn't take him seriously with his broad jaw. Hit depression, sadness, and loneliness in one fell swoop. Great film. I agree with you, Nico. Also, I love the fact that Lewis Pullman is now in his second movie where he plays a character named Bob.
He wasn't the first choice.
He wasn't the first choice? Who was the first choice?
Stephen Yeun was originally cast as Robert Reynolds' Sentry, having worked with director Jake Schreier on Beef. After filming was delayed due to the strikes in 2023, Yeun dropped out due to scheduling conflicts, replaced by Lewis Pullman.
I like Stephen Yeun. I was a big fan of a lot of his work, especially, Glenn in Walking Dead, for instance.
Oh, okay. I have to look and see who he was.
Yeah. And I think Stephen Yeun's a great guy and a great actor. I think Lewis Pullman was the better choice. I'm glad that Stephen had to pull out and gave Lewis this chance to be that character, because I think Lewis did a better job with giving you Bob's vulnerabilities and that fragility that the character really needed to have, so you could see where the potential danger was. So I like Lewis Pullman. I think is a great up and coming actor. I haven't seen him in a lot. I've seen him in both movies I've seen him in so far. He's been Bob.
Well, and it was like through the longest time watching the movie, I was like, I knew the face. I could recognize the face, and I'm like, that's not Bill Pullman. But it was like,
he was enthralled with being Bob back to back.
I'm like, oh, damn, he looks at it, and then sure enough, he's the son.
Mm-hmm.
So Florence Pugh loves heights.
She is so freaking. There's nothing she can't do.
And wanted to be the one to jump off the building, the Merdeka 118 building in the opening, that she incessantly emailed Kevin Feige about not using a stunt double.
She wanted to do it herself.
And she's like, as they got closer and closer to shooting, they're like, we don't think it's going to happen because of insurance or whatever. And obviously, we're not going to throw me off the second tallest building in the world. And I was like, what the? Of course we are. We have to do that. So she's like, I was being a sassy Karen, emailing Kevin and saying it's going to do wonders for the press tour. We have to do this. We are going to have 3 women break 3 different Guinness World Records, and we'll do this and this. And I had to keep on pushing. And they're like, okay, if you want to fall off the second tallest building, we'll figure it out for you. So sure enough, she actually jumped off the Merdeka 118.
So that stunt of her is actually
with no CGI or stunt double.
That's amazing.
She said that the stunt required so much willpower and adrenaline that she fell asleep for 3 hours after she did the stunt because her brain just went down. And then the other thing, the shot in the lab that the shot of the lab that Yelena blows up was actually a charged explosion set on the floor of the building. It's no CGI.
That's all practical effects too. Nice. Elizabeth points out the fact that my only thing with Thunderbolts, let me bring this comment up so we all see it. My only thing with Thunderbolts was every 15 to 20 minutes, my brain went, her hair looks like that because Peter Parker shaved her head. And she's making a reference to Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh were in a movie together. And for one scene, he actually shaved her head.
Oh.
Florence has never been afraid of that. She's never been afraid of that. If her hair has to go, take it. You know, she's always been good about that. I remember showing up at the Met Gallery almost completely bald. That was amazing. My name is Jim, but my friends call me Jim. Gene Wilder and Blazing Saddles. Thank you for that. That's a circular reference there. Love it.
The film was released during Mental Health Awareness Month.
I think that's fantastic.
Tying in with the film's themes on personal struggle.
It's exactly. I mean, and that's the thing
they have it.
Especially because mental health awareness has become such a mainstream talking point in recent years, right? It's important. You know, that's the thing about representation is it's important. You know, people want to see, they don't want to see their heroes doing great things and mega deeds and whatnot, but they want to be able to see themselves in the story. You know, when I'm reading a book, which is starting to happen a little bit more often, I was trying to find a character that kind of I can relate to the best. And then I see myself as that character. I'm currently in a book where I'm having a hard time with that, but it's not stopping me from trying. You know, and so everybody wants to see themselves in something. And you know, right now in our world today, there is a handful of people who are doing everything they can to avoid that for whatever reason they have, which is most likely bad. But you know, I hope this continues. I hope this trend really does continue. And with MCU, you have this massive canvas with all these different types of stories and all these different types of genre. But in the Marvel universe, like you have the She-Hulk series, which a lot of people malign for all the wrong reasons. But it was funny to have a lawyer comedy, you know, in the MCU. You know, Falcon and Winter Soldier was a buddy cop movie, you know, or buddy cop series. And excuse me. Daredevil is back. We've talked about Daredevil and how it brings a whole different street level edge back to the Marvel universe. So it's not always going to be the Avengers coming in full throttle and having the big battles that ruin small parts of cities and things like that. It's about the quiet moments, and that's something Steve Mark. Oh my God, Stan Lee said once. It's about the quiet moments is just as important as the big loud exposition moments. Let's go to the comments section and see what we got here. Elizabeth Rice says, we live in a time that is great movies. We live in time is a great movie. She's talking about the Andrew Garfield, Florence Pugh movie, and it's on HBO Max. See the heroes struggle. Exactly. Thank you. And identifying Florence as another adrenaline junkie like Tom Cruise. I was going to make that comment about her being a female Tom Cruise, although nicer.
So we're just catching on some of the Easter eggs that were in there. When the crew breaks into the watchtower, Bucky is seen holding a car door as a shield, a strong reference to Steve Rogers holding the cab door in Captain America: The First Avenger. What else say? Valentina calls Alexei Red Guardian an old Santa. Harbor played Santa in the dark comedy Violent Night. So like that I hadn't seen, so that one would have gone right over my head in regards to that. Let's see. Here's the Lewis Pullman, previous character Bob in Top Gun Maverick. The scene with Red Guardian and the little girl and the flower calls back to Guardians of the Galaxies, the scene with Groot and the little girl with the flower.
Oh, right. Okay, this makes sense.
Let's see.
Keep reading.
The character Vale wears a belt with the letter V on it.
Okay.
No, that's all spoilers. The post-credit scene was shot a month before the film's release. It was directed by the Russo brothers on the set of Avengers Doomsday 2026. This was their first involvement since Avengers Endgame.
I'm happy to see that. What's the next Marvel property coming up? Is it Fantastic Four coming up this summer? Or is there something else in between?
I think it's Fantastic Four.
Fantastic Four's coming up?
Oh, what's Ironheart? What's that?
Oh, Riri Williams. Yeah, the Ironheart series. Is that a TV series on Disney Plus coming up? I don't know. Ironheart in June. Thank you, Andy. Appreciate you, buddy.
Yeah, right. So but I'm like, wait.
I'm looking forward to that one, just for the fun of it, you know? I mean, I liked her part in the Black Panther movie. I thought she was really good casting. I'm looking forward to seeing that character in action. A 3-episode premiere. Oh, that'll keep me busy for about an hour and a half.
And I just thought it was hysterical that Val purchased Avengers Tower.
Yeah. They've been hinting at it for a while, ever since, Happy first brought it up in the Spider-Man movie, that they're stuck in Europe. Far From Home. Homecoming, Far From Home, No Way Home. I wish they really had not done that. It's another story entirely, I guess.
Right? No. Hands up.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we know that.
Isn't that great?
Let's see. So that's the trivia. Then it's funny. A goof.
Not that goof.
Where is it? Errors in geography.
Oh.
Red Guardian drove from DC to Utah overnight, which is impossible in a slow limo.
That's fair. Yeah, you could cannonball run that sort of thing in a Lamborghini, but a slow limo. You know what? I can suspend disbelief for that. That's fine.
I was like, whatever. John and Ava somehow break open the vault's thick stone-like elevator door without making a sound.
Maybe they're just good that way.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe she ghosted the noise. I'm happy to see. Oh God, I can't think of the actress's name who played Ava, the ghost. But she was the lead in a series called Killjoys on the Sci-Fi Channel, and it was so good. And I love her dearly, and I'm glad she's starting to get her due. Really, she's so good. Hannah John Kamen. I was close. Yeah, she is really good. I'm happy to see her getting her time in the sun finally.
And I was telling you earlier, I was so excited when I started clapping during the movie when Bucky showed up in Utah.
Yes.
I was like, as soon as that thing landed on the side of the car, I'm like, I know who that is.
Right. It's like, oh, here we go.
I know who that is.
So 2 mid-credit scenes. Well, 1 mid-credit, 1 end-of-credit scenes. The mid-credit one is just kind of like a little bit of fluffy chewy. The end credit scene is a big one. It's about 3.5 minutes long and sets up what's coming up in the future. Again, spoiler territory. So if you've not seen it and you don't want to know what these scenes are about, now would be a good time to just chill out, go see the movie, and come back and watch the recording of this episode down the road, because I'm about to mention, I'm giving you a moment.
Spoilers.
It's okay.
Well, before you mention the spoiler,
Before I mention the spoiler,
I don't know how many people forget that it's a Marvel movie.
oh my God,
That they get up and leave.
it's 15 years of this shit now. People
17.
are 17 years
It
of this
was
shit now.
released on the
And
17th
people were still
anniversary.
getting up as soon as the credits started rolling and walking out. The people next to me started shifting around. I'm like, there's two of them this time. And they're like, oh shit, that's right. And they sat right back down. I'm like, why are people leaving during a Marvel movie credits?
I'm like, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
What
are those? Anyway,
I love that part.
I spoiled the end credits for myself by paying too much attention to the credits. Okay. And why are people leaving when the credits roll for any movie? Here's the thing, Andy, is that there are still normal movies that don't have credit scenes. All right. So like I watched Conclave finally, which was a really good movie.
Oh,
God,
I wasn't sure about that.
So
Andy
tense.
says it's like a concert, folks. Don't leave till the house lights come up.
Right.
The house lights came up in our theater.
They did in ours, I don't think. Well, yeah, no, they did. Well, that's standard procedure. They always do during credits, during closing credits. They'll bring everything up.
Yeah.
Because they have to by policy.
So I'm just like, all the house lights were up. So I think people thought, because I think the house lights went up midway through the credits, like the midway scene, and then it came on, and then
what was the midway scene? I don't remember it anymore.
It wasn't necessarily super memorable.
But
Elizabeth, help us out.
But the end credit scene was, so here's what happened. After everything they've all gone to, they knew that Valentina had set them up. They saw her when they came out of the denouement, out of the and she was trying to get away from them. They track her down through a whole bunch of like fencing and fallen debris and whatnot to find that she'd actually organized a press conference on the other side. And this is her big coup de grace, right? She's always scheming to save herself, to do things for herself. And you get a touch of Valentina backstory, but for the most part, she's been manipulating the entire time. And she goes, and
Red Guardian
getting a cereal box. That's right, in the supermarket. Anyway, so they all burst through the debris to get to her to find that she's already started this press conference. And she goes, ladies and gentlemen, your new Avengers. And the 5 or 6 of them are like, what? Oh crap. Oh no. But they play along. They play along after knowing everything they found out about her. And then Yelena, Florence Pugh, because the only one who could deliver this line, we own you. And she comes up and whispers in Valentina's ear, we own you now.
Yeah.
And that was awesome. But so that all relates to the credits start, everything moves along. We're going to go back to your point in a moment because I know you want to say something. So we're going to roll in. And then, so the final credit scene, it's them in Avengers Tower trying to be the Avengers, but apparently with minimal success at it so far. There's this whole montage of newspaper articles and news reports, basically people they're on the fence. The population is on the fence. People are like, okay, new Avengers, all right, good, cool, they're all right. Or mostly, these are not my Avengers, this is wrong, this is bad, this is terrible. So you see our new Avengers kind of adapting to this lifestyle and not really going with it yet. And then there's something happens and you see Bucky, you hear Bucky talk about the fact that he'd run into Sam and it did not go well. So at the end of
copyright.
There's a whole copyright. There's basically a falling out between these two long-standing friends, which makes me sad because they've really done a lot to build up Sam and Bucky. So to know they're having a falling out is kind of like, it doesn't feel right.
Well, it seems to be similar to the falling out between Captain America and Iron Man.
Yeah.
That during Civil War.
Hopefully they figure it out. I mean,
hopefully they do
figure it out. And yes, there was a Juno sighting. Hi, babies. Hi, puppers. There she is. She fits perfectly in the frame. There you go, slurp, slurp.
The assistant to Valentina.
Oh yeah, I can't remember the character's name, but I see the actress in my head. How she was really kind of wavering back, which just wanted to do the right thing. Mel. Yeah.
And I'm just like, I'm like, okay, yes. Bitch. I was like, what?
Yeah. Yeah.
that type of thing. So
But,
like,
but then they are distracted from they're worrying about all of the stuff and worrying about, Avengers and politics and all this stuff. Something's coming in space, and there's an interdimensional alert. And sure enough, the last thing you see is the very rocket that you see during the Fantastic Four trailer. And as the rocket rotates around, you see the four pop up. So you were watching the beginning of the introduction of Marvel's first family into the MCU finally. So here we go, kids.
I think Bucky is on purpose keeping Sam away because he knows how annoying of a team he and Yelena would be. Annoying to Bucky personally, that is.
Yeah. Probably right. Probably right.
So.
But, you get your first introduction of the Fantastic Four in the MCU leading up to the movie that's going to be coming out this summer, which I am very much looking forward to. So,
there's a lot of good stuff.
There's a lot of good stuff coming up in Marvel Universe.
In just general. Just general stuff coming up. I mean, I'm going to see Mission Impossible Final Reckoning Part 2 or whatever this Friday.
I'm still back on a couple of Mission Impossible movies, so I need to catch up on those before I go see the final one.
Well.
Now, here's the bet I want to make with you.
I don't think it's going to be.
Will it be the absolute final Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movie?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
You never know.
I don't know.
You just never know.
He is getting a little older.
He's starting to show it finally. He's not that rough around the edges, but you can definitely tell the man's 60 something.
So there's that. There's Ballerina.
Ballerina's coming out, so I'm looking forward to that.
June 6th.
Because I love Anna de Armas so much.
So that's June 6th. So then Fantastic Four. I still have to see the classic. Oh my God, yes. And Andrew, go back and watch.
Not only the 1960s, but the 1980s version as well, because the 80s version was just as good, if not a little bit better.
I love how they formed the mask in the box.
in the gizmo. Yeah.
That was before 3D printing was like really such a thing.
So that was I liked Thunderbolts. I really liked Thunderbolts. And then of course, Thunderbolts at the end, which I think this is the most clever thing I've ever seen a movie do, becomes the new Avengers.
Superman.
They changed the freaking name of the movie at the end of the movie. I thought that was phenomenal. That was just absolutely so cool. That's like so different, And Superman's coming out. There's a lot of good stuff coming out this year.
He's trying to make Days of Thunder too. Oh,
Tom Cruise, really?
I can't.
Interesting. Hey, anything's feasible.
Well, he's the one that drove a motorcycle off a cliff.
Well, there you have it. I mean, this is a guy who's flown fighter jets. So.
The other Easter egg that I was looking at is one, Yelena went off the side of the building. It mimicked Natasha going over the side of
the cliff for the Soul Stone. Wow.
That was in the trivia.
I did not think of that.
That was an Easter egg. That I didn't think of it either, but it was.
That's heavy. That's heavy. I didn't think of that.
Taskmaster's on the new Avengers poster.
Yeah, poor thing. That's a poor thing. You comic chick anytime soon? No? No idea?
No.
If you have not yet volunteered or filled out a volunteer application for FC3, what are you waiting for? We'd love to have you on board. I'd love to have you on board. She'd love to have you on board. I don't think she cares really. I'd love to have you on board. You're too busy to care about stuff like that. Details.
Bliss right now.
So simply as a death wish to Tomorrow Cruise, Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you on that one.
This is going to be a summer of movies.
This is going to be a good year for movies, I think. This is going to be a lot of fun. What are we supposed to be doing next week? Did we say?
Andor.
You've watched how many episodes of Andor now? 1. I'm halfway through season 2, and you got episode 1 of the first season out of the way. Congratulations.
Tomorrow we have a meeting, so I can binge some of it on Wednesday afternoon, Thursday afternoon. I can't do any on Friday because I'm going to see Mission Impossible. I can just sit up on Saturday, Sunday. Because once and
we'll have enough time before we air on Monday to watch an episode or two if you want. I'm just saying, give you some time.
There's only 2 more episodes of Doctor Who this year. I'm behind.
Doctor Who's been so good this season.
I'm caught up to
good.
I have to watch Saturday's episode, but I'm caught up in
Saturday's episode had an oh crap moment that made Ian laugh because he goes, Dad, I've never seen you surprised by anything before.
Oh.
And I'm like, hey, I lived with your sister.
And I have loved the fact that Leverage Redemption, new season's on. So your daughter who loves Leverage.
Yeah. Oh, is that coming back with another series?
Yes. It's on Prime. And then Criminal Minds Evolution. That's back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's there were spoilers there. So if you watch Criminal Minds, Will dies. Spoiler.
Who dies?
Jennifer Giroux's husband, Will.
And this is in Criminal Minds?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
He was a police officer from New Orleans that ends up coming up and becoming a police officer in like the DC area because that's where they are. And then when you're gone, Dolly and I are going to be talking NCIS. She actually caught up.
About that, yeah.
She actually caught up. She's like, she sends me a message. She's like, hi. I'm like, hi.
Also, this summer, I would like to start getting the Andys and Tony into the broadcast as well. So we'll get you guys logged in so you can join us for some of these chats coming up. I know, like Andy Sr. was interested in the music one that you guys were talking about planning. Start bringing them in a little bit more.
It was just so funny. She goes, hi. This was last Monday. I'm like, hi. She's like, I made sure I'm all caught up. I am staying on track. I'm like, okay, but we're not doing this. We're doing this on June 6th, not tonight. I'm like, oops, no, the 9th. And she's like, I know. I'm like, okay.
Right.
But it scared me that because it was like 7:00 at night. I'm like, is Dolly expecting to do this tonight? I'm not ready because I didn't have the show set up. I didn't have any of that. Then she's like, I was laughing at myself because I swore she was up to date and she wasn't.
Billy.
Remember, I haven't watched Black Mirror since we watched a couple of those episodes.
Since we were doing Monkey Business. I think we should do a Black Mirror episode.
Andy, right. I kind of low-key interested in the reboot of The Librarians. I saw a preview for that tonight.
I did see a preview for that as well.
I love Christian Kane. I would love to get Christian Kane.
We got to get Billy on with us as well because that would be a proper reunion to have the three of us in the same
Billy has a computer. We can send him the link and we can actually
talk to Billy.
Oh, you know what? We can have him watch something. Yeah. And us watch something and we could.
Billy, do you feel like you're being pulled into something again? Because you are. We miss you, buddy.
Let us know when you have a Monday night.
Yep. tell Susan we said hello too, by the way. We miss you guys.
I loved The Librarians. That was another show.
I got into it in the early days, but I have not watched a lot of it since. It wasn't because I thought the show had fallen off, so just no time. That's basically it.
No, I like Noah Wyle.
I recently rewatched the 3 movies and previous TV series in anticipation of the continuation of the Librarians. I think it's a great premise. Mm-hmm. It's a fun premise. It's like Warehouse 13, but different, you know, different aspects.
Aw, Billy, we love you.
Billy. I feel as good as you and I are together.
We're much better.
We're at our best when we have a Billy. Next week, I do a marathon of all 5 the Karate Kid films and the Cobra Kai in anticipation of Karate Kid Legends that week. Plenty of great stuff coming. Andy Jr. is dedicated. I love this kid's dedication to the craft, man.
Billy's inner monologue. Just when I thought I was out there.
They dragged me back in.
I seem to have done that. You thought you were out for Nerd World News.
You've done that to me on several occasions.
Yeah.
I can tell you guys, quite honestly, on 3 occasions. 3 occasions I said, I'm done. I can't do Nerd World News anymore. And it lasted all about a month or so before somebody said, oh, by the way, you're going to be doing this. I'm like, all right, fine.
It's better now that we're in this format, that we're back into like a similar podcast
format.
But it's like a live.
You and I just shoot the shit like we used to back in the day.
Yes.
But we need more. I mean, I'm glad that people are logging in.
We need Billy's.
We need Billy, and having the Andys on board, having Melissa here, having Elizabeth, having John, having Peter, all these guys showing up.
Nico.
Off of Nico having around. That makes it more entertaining, is to make it a conversation instead of, oh, by the way, I'm going to recite crap that you've seen online already. And
we're entertaining to begin with.
Well, speak for yourself. I'm boring as hell.
Well, we're entertaining to begin with.
That's true.
That's true. There was a we
that's
there.
A thing.
Yes.
That's a thing.
Because we are the banter back and forth is back.
Yes. Billy, we talk about you a lot, buddy. And I'm sorry that, it's my fault because I haven't reached out in a while, and I should. I've just been so busy lately that I should.
Do you need new t-shirts?
We'll fix that. I'll fix reaching out. She said, though, do you need new t-shirts? As I was making a thought about something else entirely.
Sorry.
So, this show makes my Mondays at work. Thank you, Peter. I appreciate you, buddy.
Oh, so
the John Ford. I can find a great Monument Valley background. Nice.
So yeah, I have to look at the list because I am not up to date on the Karate Kid stuff. I didn't watch Cobra Kai, but
right.
I am
neither.
But I am up to date today.
I'm not wearing today.
Let's get that straight, Melissa. Today.
Oh, thanks. All right. I'm just here. I'm like, holy crap.
Yep. I always need new t-shirts. Okay. So we'll have to do a t-shirt splurge for Billy because it's been a while. When I see something, Tanya, it's fun. Yeah. I was 3/4 of the way asleep today at work, and it was. Yeah,
you walked into the house,
and I was like,
"Why?" I'm like, "Do you want me to feed you?"
No.
I'm like, "Okay."
I crashed out for a little while. I'm like, yeah. So
sit word, Chris. Yeah,
I know, right?
You ready? Ready? Melissa, you ready for this one? Do it.
Yeah, that or it's Vecna.
No, when that hood comes up like that, that's definitely Palpatine action right there. I love this hoodie because of the massive hood on it.
I do have a Star Wars sweatshirt that is like whatever that zips up the side that has a big hood like that, and it says Star Wars across the top. Ooh, speaking of Star Wars, I bought myself the Star Wars logo Legos. Everything is going as I have foreseen. So you heard what I said, right?
Yes, I did. I heard it. And yes, Billy, Galactus is not a cloud. Finally, they're doing it right. You're seeing the actual.
You know what? That's the exact thing.
It gives you heart palpitations. Really, Andy?
When I saw the trailer for the Fantastic Four, I thought Galactus is not a cloud.
Oh, I yelled it out in the theater. As soon as I saw the trailer, I'm like, Galactus is not a cloud. And people behind me were like, yeah, that's right.
I thought that. I'm just like, I thought Billy Dettori. I'm like,
absolutely.
My inner Billy Dettori that day.
Absolutely.
I've
got 2 of my own, and I've got my son's 4 over here in the corner. I have lightsabers. Mm-hmm. Although I have to say, I'm a little disappointed in one of the sabers I bought at FC3 last year. I bought one from each of the 2 saber guys that we had.
Isn't one like not keeping a charge?
It's not keeping a charge, but also it's really freaking hard to manipulate the effects and whatnot. Mm-hmm. It doesn't quite have the oomph I was hoping for. Now, the casing itself with the hilt is amazing, and when it lights up and works, it's wonderful. Mm-hmm. But it's so hard to use properly, and it's a challenge. I'm a little bit disappointed in one of them. The other one's all right, So my saber collection is off to a start. It's a slow start, but I'm going to work on it.
Well, they're definitely lighter than mine.
Yeah. Well, you got the big old.
I have a
the hilt from your Disney saber could take down a professional wrestler. Mm-hmm. I'm fairly certain of it. Mm-hmm. So, friends and family. That's all we have right now. I got things to do, and so do you, because that is it. That's all we have. We're going to just go wandering around and vent a little bit more. But at this point, it's so good to be back in the saddle and hanging out with you guys again. I hope you get a chance. If you have not seen Thunderbolts, please go see it. I'm going to make an official rating right now on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm giving Thunderbolts an 8. I'm going 8.
That's what I was thinking.
There was some little flaws here and there. Some things felt a little rushed, but the overall development of the characters, the journeys they went on, it was just a great movie, a great character piece, and definitely some really good MCU writing at its finest. So I'm excited about that. So then that would be the end of that. So we will. So you guys have a great week.
Have a
safe week, and we will see you again next week. I gotta go now. Bye-bye.
I'll watch it end